thing I want to do is I want to say peace, and today's mathematics is power refinement. So I want to look at the fifth degree in the Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2. What is the total square miles of land, the total square miles of water? 57,255,000 square miles of land and 139,685,000 square miles of water. If you go to the student enrollment, which is the 1 to 10, you will see this says what is the area of square miles of the planet Earth. The square miles of the planet Earth is 196,940,000 square miles. Now I keep going back at land because the power degree keeps taking you to land, and you're going to see the significance of it in approximately 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Now, if you go into the fifth degree in English lesson number 1, which is 1 to 36, it says he does not know that he is my uncle. See how it switched to he does not know that he is my uncle, because when the original man, land was taken from him, regardless of whether he was in the western or the eastern side of the planet. When his original man's land is taken from him, then other things follow, such as language, culture, and creed, and family structure is also taken. This is the way the European operates, no matter what denomination they fall under: Catholic, Protestant, Jew, Eastern Orthodox, Anglican, or any of the other Christian denominations, or any of the other Jewish denominations. Because as we know and understand as 5%, there's a difference between a Hebrew and a Jew. Even if they don't teach it that way, there is a difference. One is dealing with the European, the other one is dealing with Asiatic, as the prophet said. And as 120 says, Asiatics and Europeans is basically what you have. You got the original man, and you got amalgamation and miscegenated men, and you have grafted men. Now we get into the meat. Why did we take Jerusalem from the devil? How long ago? Because one of our righteous brothers, who was a prophet by the name of Jesus, was buried there, and they used his name to shield their dirty religion, which was called Christianity, also to deceive the people so that they would believe in him. Jesus' teaching was not Christianity, it was freedom, justice, and equality. Jerusalem is in Palestine and Asia Minor. Jerusalem is a name given by the Jews, which means founded in peace, and it was first put by the original man, which was called Jabesh, Salem, and Ariel. We took the city from the devil about 750 years ago. That's the quotation of WWII asking the question, why did we take Jerusalem from the devil, how long ago? And Elijah Muhammad is answering it. Now, if you were in the nation of the gods and earth, you would upgrade that to 2010 and give it an understanding of God. Right, so basically, I would say Jerusalem was a name given by the Hebrews, and it means founded in peace, and it was called Jabesh, Salem, and Ariel. The 750 years ago is dealing with Saladin having a war with the Christian conquistadors, the ancestors of the conquistadors, the ancestors of the Knight Templars, the ancestors of the Hospitallers, the ancestors of the Masonic lodges of Europe, the ancestors of the Scots, English, and when I say ancestors, I'm talking ancestors from 750 years ago, which would be 750 years ago as of 1934. So if you go back 750 years from 1934, you come up with a date and time. And it's actually dealing with the Crusade Wars. So that's a 99-year war according to history, but it really lasted about 109 years, 108 years, 105 years, 120 years, 115 years, depending on who you're getting your historical data from. Now, if you go into the history of the country called Israel in these modern days, 2010, not the Israel of biblical times. The reason why I bring that up is because based on what I've been seeing is Israel of modern times is basing their reason for annexing and taking the land that was previously owned by the Palestinians in World War II based on biblical information. They're saying that they are Israel and that they are Jews, and that Jews and Hebrews are one and the same, and that this land was given to them by God. Okay, now, if you read about the Palestinians before World War II, the Palestinians lived in the land that is called today Israel prior to World War II. The Israelis actually are Europeans who are Jews who took on the culture and the creed, and for lack of a better word, the religious practices of the Hebrews. And by doing that, and then in these modern days, they occupy Israel and or the Palestine or the Holy Lands, or whatever the new name, Jerusalem, whatever name you giving it, they occupy that land based on military might. Right now, what they're using is the Jews gradually immigrated to the area, starting from World War II and working well, they've been migrating there since the 1800s, but they really came in an influx after World War II, when Britain allowed them to. What Britain did was turn the land over to them. Basically, Britain had already occupied that land when Britain was colonizing the world. They took that land and they ended up giving it to the European Jews. Next question I have is, when did Israel become an independent nation? In modern times, under UN mandate following World War II, Israel became an independent state on May 14, 1948. Went to the book Culture of the Universe, I God, or the Culture's I God. First title was The Culture of the Universe is I God. The title before that was Culture of the Universe is I God. But anyway, that book I wrote called The Culture's I God, it goes into David Ben-Gurion, who became the prime minister around May 14, 1948, and the Declaration of Independence was signed for Israel. The UN was in on it, Britain was in on it, the United States, France was in on it. I'm not sure Spain was in on it, but I know they knew what was taking place, because remember, World War II had France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Britain. Those are like the major players. Russia was a major player. Japan was a major player in that war, and yeah, so these are all the things that took place in those historical events, which, when you do the knowledge to the 5th degree and the 1 to 14, this is what you will see. Peace. Now let's look at the oldest borders of Israel, modern day Israel and Egypt. Israel is one with Egypt at one time, right? And this is established back in like 1906, when the Ottoman Empire ruled almost the whole area of the Middle East, right? If you look at the history, you'll see that the Turkish government and the British government, around 1906, they modified a proposal and they drew up some lines, some imaginary lines between Egypt and Damascus and the Golan Heights and in so-called Jerusalem and so-called Palestine and all these, different places, which is really in all actuality just Africa being split up and taken from the Africans. That's the real story behind what's going on. And the Africans is just a name that the European gave them so that they wouldn't understand who they truly are, because all they are is Asiatics, because Africa is a continent and not a country. But the countries came about due to the colonization of the major players like Britain, France, Portugal, and Spain, and Italy. Okay, now Italy had most of its run-in with Africa back in the days when they were the Roman Empire, just as Greece had most of its run-in when it was the Macedonian Empire under Alexander the Great. And the new modern day shit is when the armadas of Spain and Portugal and the English, which was under British rule, when they came to colonize. Confusion coming about with the splitting up of the African continent. The northern part of the African continent right after the Ottoman Empire is defeated. That's about the last of the so-called pale-skinned Arabs, for lack of a better word, that group of people. When the Europeans came in, that's like around 1493, 1453, Byzantine Empire, and all of that took place. You know what I'm saying? You could look at 101 questions and do the knowledge of those. That'll take you into that. But basically what this is the fifth degree in the 1 to 14.